Hello and welcome back. My name is Curtis Storr I'm a trainer with Family Investor, and today's topic is CPR, a life-saving action. Well, it actually has to do with finances since we are a financial literacy training company. Say that fast several times. And so when you say CPR, usually what comes to mind is heart attack, life-saving, pumping, doing the compressions, pumping life back into somebody, and it's something that needs your full attention and for you to take action. And that's what this blog or this video is for, is to hopefully I could get your attention and understand one of the services that we provide here is CPR, but a different type of CPR. And the one I was introduced to a few months ago was called a Comprehensive Policy Review, CPR. And working with my advisor, he introduced me to this, and he says, I was upset about my life insurance policy. I have a life insurance policy. I got an indexed universal life because I learned from a wealth building strategist that that's something you can have in your portfolio in order to do wealth buildings, and one of the strategies is to use that, and I'm not going to get into how it's done. I do that in other trainings. I'll teach you what I've learned. But my life experience, I got this policy from this guy, and then I felt like, once he was done with me getting me the policy, that was it. I was asking him questions, this and all these questions I should have asked before, and him being the expert, he should have been asking me a lot more questions, I feel, at this point. That's why I'm going to prepare you before you go in and get your life insurance policy, so exactly what to ask for, what to look for. And I do that, and that's the whole reason for Family Investors trainings is to help open up your knowledge base so you don't end up looking back like I have, hindsight's 20/20, looking back and being upset about things. And just for some of you who don't know me, a year ago, I'm a real estate investor, a financier, and a strategist, but a year ago I got my life insurance license because no one was telling me anything about life insurance, and I figured, okay, the only way to do this is to get my license. And then all of a sudden I'm allowed behind the curtain. I have access to all this information. I've been bouncing around for a year, working with this person, with that, and learning what the differences are in companies. But, there's a lot of similarities. The basics, which I go over the basics in our training. But then I go into what's different and what to watch out for. So what we're doing, and what I did was a review of my policy, and I found a better policy. I actually just recently did a 1035 exchange and put it into a better policy. Even though I lost money on the surrender charges, I ended up with a better policy. And the way I look at a better policy is, does it have what I need? And what's the return on investment? Of course, I'm a financier, so I look at the numbers. And I found a policy that's going to pay me more than my other policy and give me better coverage, like the long-term care I was looking for. And even if you already, you might be looking at this saying, I already have a life insurance policy that's, from 10 years ago, and it's, doesn't matter. Mine was 4 years old. It doesn't matter how long you've had your policy. If there's a good one out there, 10 years old is probably good, because you're probably out of your surrender period. I don't know. Every policy is different because it's considered a contractual investment. You sign a contract that obligates the life insurance policy to give you a certain whatever's written in the contract. That's a contract. We will do A, B, C, D, everything on that contract as long as you pay your premiums. So I'm a advisor also on Investopedia, and one of the things is we get questions and answers, and I start reading everybody else. I'm educating myself all the time. I've gone through education with some of the top people in the industry, wealth strategists, real estate investors, multifamily, storage units, all those people who are training out there in real estate and private lending. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars going through that, but now I'm on the Investopedia, and what I see is a lot of the times is they give great answers. Most of the answers are narrowed in on the question, which is maybe not a bad thing. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. But what I always say when I answer a question on Investopedia is you got to look at your big picture. It all comes down to your big picture. There's more to it, and your big picture changes all the time. You might be married now, and when you got your policy, you're single. So talking about the big picture, I've changed comprehensive policy review to comprehensive portfolio review. And that's something I will do for you. You see this video. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you how to contact us. You get a hold of us, and I will do a comprehensive portfolio review for you. I will go over your asset protection. And I put insurance there because I just want to talk about it a little bit more. You have insurance on your vehicle. That's asset protection. You're protecting. When you crash that vehicle, they'll replace it or pay you market value or whatever. Some policies might replace that vehicle. That's an asset, and you're protecting it. If you own a home, you have homeowners insurance. If you're a renter, you should have renter's insurance. As a landlord, I speculate that the renters have renter's insurance to lease my property, because that protects them, but it also protects me. And if they ever got robbed or something happened, like a pipe broke in the house, or something, they would be covered also. Their property would be covered, their assets. That's what asset protection is about at that level. That's the most simplistic level, but there's other ways to protect your asset. Wills, trust, power of attorney. This is all asset protection. How do you hold your accounts? There's different ways. You got to look at how you're holding your accounts, because if you don't have your accounts set up properly, I'm talking about bank accounts, savings accounts, CDs, all money market accounts, whatever accounts you have, if they're not set up properly, you can end up losing them, or let's say you pass away, your family may not be able to inherit them until they go through probate. And probate, what I've learned and not from experience, well, yeah, experience, because I have a guy down in Mesa who does searches for probate properties. I'm a real estate investor. If we could help a family by getting that asset off their table, so to say, and we could create a win-win situation with those people, that's great, because they can move on, let that go. We take care of the asset, and we make money by refurbishing it, because they usually always need to be cleaned out and refurbished and resold, and that's the fix and flip business. And I'm a real estate investor, and that's what we do. And what I have found during that course is there's a lot of attorneys out there that are pretending to be real estate investors themselves. And what I'm finding out is not all of them, but there are instances, and I could show you some of them, where attorneys will drain that person's portfolio. Charges after charges. They charge about $200 an hour. You call them up and they talk to you for 15 minutes. That's $50. I know, because I work with attorneys also, and in the real estate field, where I've had things gone bad. When things go bad, you need attorneys. Taxes, I like to talk about that. Taxes are actually an incentive program for you to do more. So we look at taxes because, I always say a penny saved is a penny earned, and it's true. If we could if you don't have to pay taxes, just think of how much money you would have, how much money you would have to spend. I mean, if at retirement, just think of all your income during retirement was tax free, and you didn't have to pay any taxes. You know, I mean, we don't know what taxes are going to be in what, for me, maybe 10 years, 15 years. For you, it could be 45, 50 years from now. I don't know what your taxes are going to be. Real estate, and how are you holding title? There's certain, like community property, that it affects how it's passed along. Number one, if you don't hold title right, it goes to probate once again. Number two, if you hold it joint tenancy, that could cause a taxable event, or possibly you can lose out on 50% or whatever percentage it is in a tax incentive. You can, if you hold the property correctly in some situations, you can change your basis. What that means is if you bought it at $250,000 and your spouse passes away and it's worth $500, your basis was $250, now it could be $500. It all depends on how you're holding title, and that's not something everybody's taught. And I learned a lot of this because of business, all the above. If you're running a business, I went through trainings on asset protection. I've gone, which, you know, I've worked with paralegals and attorneys about, you know, wills, trusts, power of attorneys and stuff. You know, you have to renew your power of attorney every year in most cases, and a lot of your accounts will not accept certain power of attorneys. It might have to be theirs. There's a lot to consider. So I will go over that with you. And this is the question that always comes up. And through my life experiences, I've worked with several attorneys that said, oh yeah, we could do that. And I even met a guy, you know, I was talking about how I've met, you know, worked with attorneys that said they can do something, and then they did it, and they really didn't know what they were doing. I guess they just wanted to charge me for the work. And the same thing happened to this guy up in New Jersey. His parents own a manufacturing company, and he told me that they needed to secure their IP, and their attorney says, sure, I could do that for you. And he did, but they lost all of it because he didn't know what he was doing. And that, you know, that's not a good experience to have. IP, by the way, is intellectual property, so you could Google that one. I'm not going to go into that. But that's an example of, if you don't use the right expert, I'm not saying they're all bad, but you really need to know who you're working with. Because in the life insurance arena, just like with I compare it to mortgages because I'm in real estate. If you go to a bank, they're gonna if you want to buy a house and you go to a bank, they're going to give you bank blah 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 mortgage. If you go to an independent mortgage broker, they can give you bank blah blah blah's mortgage, or they may not be able to give you that loan, but they may be able to give you a loan structured the same way. It's basically identical. It's competitive. So there's other companies, you know, you see commercials about mortgages all the time. A mortgage broker is independent and can shop around several different companies. I'm an independent life insurance agent. That's how I get all the information on all the different policies out there now. It's overwhelming how different they really are. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you won't know what you're looking at. You need somebody in your corner, and that's another reason why we created Family Investor. Talk to somebody who's done what you've done, and don't always just go to your friend's recommendation guy, your attorney. Go there, but find another one who specializes in that. Google is your friend. I'm telling you, you guys have access to so much information online. Just go online and research who does it in your area, and get a free consultation. It doesn't cost you much, except time, but it's time well spent. Spend the time now and save yourself a lot of grief later. Ask me how I know, you know, and it and you always want to talk to somebody who's done it. I don't talk about anything I haven't done myself. My trainings are based on my life experience and numbers. Numbers do not lie. Anyways, if you want to get some CPR, first thing we'll do is a portfolio review, which is great. I'll do a portfolio review for you, and we can even do a policy review if you have a life insurance policy, or if you don't have a life insurance policy, we will show you how that can fit into your portfolio. If you're really not interested at this time, there's some interesting downloads on our website, www.familyinvestor.net. You can go to the blog. There's mortgage reduction calculator. You could download that. Also, the free budget spreadsheet. The first step to building wealth is know where you're spending your money. If you don't know where your money's going, you don't know where your money is. If some people have an idea. I have an idea, but it's really not until you do a budget spreadsheet that you really see how much money you're spending. You'll be surprised. And also, if you would like to do a portfolio review, send me an email or give us a call. Leave a message. All right? Thank you. Have a great day.